The fans in New Mexico have had a solid 9 days to recover since that goal-scoring bonanza against Portland Timbers 2, and boy, have they needed it, as we are expecting the biggest crowd ever at Isotopes Park in Albuquerque, New Mexico, as they play host to San Antonio FC on this Cinco de Mayo special. Tyler Terrence along with the ex-German pro Devin Kerr, thank you so much for joining us, and this New Mexico United team has taken ABQ by storm. San Antonio FC coming off of a bye week as Matt Cardoni, Darren Powell, and the rest of SAFC looking to get off to a great start in the opening moments of this match. And Devin Kerr, we look at this New Mexico United team. We'll talk about the two-headed monster in Santi Moar and Kevon Frater, but really, this is a five-headed monster for Troy Lesesne.
Understandably so. They're all guys that are in a franchise that's now in expansion, and I get that. However, they're guys that weren't necessarily at the forefront of their teams last year, except for Josh Suggs. Everybody else was either kind of in a gray area or not making the jump to the next level. In the likes of Santi Moar or David Estrada, respectfully, Philadelphia Union, Seattle Academies. Now, what do? You bring them in. Give them an opportunity to combine together going forward. We've seen it the most on the left side with Santi Moar and Josh Suggs, but how about Kevon Frater? He doubled his total last week from the 2018 season, which he had 22 appearances for Phoenix Rising, got the hat trick versus T2, excellent comeback goal, showed great character by New Mexico United, and if they can continue to stoke this fire, that is going to prove quite prolific down the stretch.
Kevon Frater has proven to be one of the more prolific scorers at the start of the 2019 USL Championship season. Meanwhile, on the other side for Darren Powell and San Antonio FC, they've got an Argentinian that has really proven to be an electric scorer and playmaker. Brian Gomez, he had the 2 goals in that devastating loss against the Monarchs. He's also got 3 assists to go along in just 5 appearances.
Some interesting tactical changes have come into light for Darren Powell and his boys in the past 4 games. He's gone to a 3-back, stacked the line as well. So his 2 outside midfielders are actually converted outside backs. So a lot of defensive movements, but Brian Gomez has done so well up top on the right side. You'll see him drift in a little bit and take guys one-on-one, but he really likes the channel on the right side. And they will need him on a regular basis going forward, because you take a look at their upcoming schedule. Difficult is being kind, and these numbers are actually a bit better than what we saw before. 7 of their next 9 games are versus top 6 opponents. That is a massive number, and it's going to be very difficult, not coming down the stretch, but mid-season form. Now you've hit rotation in players, you've got injuries coming in out of the squad. What is your response going to be if you're Darren Powell?
They started the season, the first 4 games without a win. Since then, it's been 3 wins in their last 4. New Mexico United fans have not seen their side lose at home this season, and they don't plan on it. And a packed, sold-out 13,000 plus Lab San Antonio FC, fresh off a bye week. It's all coming your way next.
Hey, where's Roush and Justin?
I don't know, bro.
Yo, this is crazy. Y'all gotta come check this out. Come on, come on.
Almost set for kickoff between Troy Lissane's New Mexico United and Darren Powell's San Antonio FC as we wrap up week number 9 in the USL Championship on this Cinco de Mayo. Tyler Terrence, along with the ex-German pro Devin Kerr, glad to have you with us as we should have an awesome 90 minutes ahead. And if it half resembles what New Mexico United brought to the table last week, then it should be terrific. We'll take a look at the starting 11s for both sides, and starting with Troy Lissane's, tonight's starting lineups are brought to you by Michelob Ultra. Devin Kerr, what are we looking at?
Devin Sandoval back in the starting 11. Nice to see that as well. He'll stack right above Kevon Frater, who has obviously proved very nice on the offensive side of things. 7 goals on the season through 8 matches already. That's impressive. Chris Wehan, who is primarily employed in the middle of the field, stepping out on the right wing. Still no David Estrada. Probably a rest and a rotation for the boys that had quite a few games recently. Cody Mizell, been very impressed with him in between the pipes. He's done well helping the squad move forward. Great saves, but also a great leader of this club.
Devin Sandoval came on as a substitute against T2. Let's go to the other side in San Antonio FC and the visitors. Devin, you and I have talked about this off air a lot. There's been a lot of change in terms of tactical and personnel for Darren Powell's group as of late.
You have to start with this, though. 9 guys in the starting 11 right now weren't even on this roster last year. So that's a massive turnover for Darren Powell. They only brought back a few players, but in that transition, they've started to find their form recently, and you see them switch to the 3-back. You could call it a 5 at times, as Hernandez and Green will tuck in alongside Fenech and Akan. But going forward, can they regularly find the ability to go in transition and go rapidly? That's been their biggest issue. They'll get out in front of teams, but they can't do it over the course of 90 minutes, and recently you've seen them struggle a bit.
Well, the curse and all the fans here at the lab are ready to go. And this New Mexico United fan base has just been terrific. Peter Vissani, the majority owner for this New Mexico United side, has just been one word: humbled by the way that the New Mexico community has embraced this side. And Devin, we would be remiss if we did not mention the passing of Justin Schmidt's father. He is not in the starting 11. He's not with the group this weekend. Both of his parents involved in a tragic car accident. His father did not survive. All of the members of New Mexico United repping those armbands. JDS, Jonathan David Schmidt. Horrified when we found out about the news. All of our thoughts and prayers out to the Schmidt family. Troy Lissane told us over the phone just a few days ago. I mean, just terrible. Justin Schmidt, you and I have talked to him before. I mean, he's just a great human being, and there's not many words that you can say. It's terrible, and so many thoughts and prayers out to his family. Obviously, his team is going to try to put on our performance, but in the days leading up to this game, there was more than football on the line for Justin Schmidt and this New Mexico United group.
Schmidt's a true representation of what this club is all about, and unfortunately, he's on the wrong side of the tracks right now. However, he does have many a person in his corner, and that's important to take a look at down the stretch, because you have all these guys, not just the starting 11, not just the 18 or the 23, but this is a family, and they've already proven from a cultural standpoint what they can do on the field. Now they're showing what they're able to do off the field, and to surround their brother in arms and really show their support and their time of need. To be honest, that's what this game is all about.
Well, we're officially underway from the Lab Isotopes Park in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Two of the best in the Western Conference going at it. San Antonio FC and New Mexico United. San Antonio in their all whites. New Mexico United in their Meow Wolf all blacks. They're expecting the biggest crowd ever in New Mexico United history. On Thursday, when we were chatting with the front office of New Mexico United, they had already sold 10,000 plus tickets. All the way back for Matt Cardone, the San Antonio group, as we mentioned before, coming off of a bye week. And before that, it was a 3-0 win against Tacoma, despite the red card to Ibusi. Jack Barmby had 2 terrific goals as New Mexico United with some early possession. And Troy Lissane, in our conversation with him a few days ago, Devin, just had one word following up that Portland Timbers 2 game, and it was fight. Just an incredible amount of it, as that's a great layoff for Santi Moar. Moar going for goal, and it was almost a perfect start for New Mexico United. Great interplay between the Jamaican freighter and the Spaniard Moar, as he's looking to get back onto the score sheet.
We already highlighted all the guys involved in this attack going forward. Chances created. Sweet little ball in by Frater. Just tucks it in close to his body, allows Santi Moar to explore the depths a bit further as he cuts in. This is a guy who carries so many tools in the box that allows him to be such a difficult one to mark going on the offensive side of things. He'll cut in, cut out. Obviously loves the ball at his feet, but out in front of him as well. It's just such a dangerous opponent to mark on.
Here's Rashid Tete. He's getting the start at the center back position. Youngster just 23 years old. Juan Pablo Guzman. What great synergy he's starting to develop with Salim Mohammed. Juan Pablo Guzman a bit more technical and smooth on the ball. Mohammed is just an absolute bone-crunching tackler in the middle of the field, and he's not bad going forward either.
This team is starting to give you more and more looks tactically as well. Immediately on, you see Juan Pablo Guzman dropping back. It almost looked a second ago that he was sitting in the right back position. Not the case. Manny Padilla just occupying space in the middle of the field, which allows Guzman to come and collect the ball and then start to get the attack going the other directions. When you don't have players that sit in a specific spot and they're not being stagnant, that is a much better look. And it's very difficult from a defensive standpoint to watch these players bounce back and forth and track them across the field.
Tonight's keys to the match are brought to you by Garcia Automotive Group. Tonight's keys to the match for New Mexico United are Mr. Devin Kerr.
It's got to be the full 90 minutes, doesn't it? And we've seen it time and time again in the 2019 season so far, where they've put together 60, 75, let the opponent back in, and then either tied a game or given one up. Fortunately enough, they have shown the resolve to come back in like they did against T2. Patience on the ball as well. The high-powered offense going forward is great, but it doesn't hurt to just stand on it at times and then also move as an entire unit forward. You're almost attacking defensively, where when you push forward, you're not just pushing forward with 3 or 4, you get 6, 7 guys coming forward so that it's a cohesive unit. If you turn the ball over, your line's already high, making it that much more difficult to play out of the back.
New Mexico United starting out on the front foot in the opening 4 minutes. San Antonio FC trying to deal with all the pressure. That's a great turn out of pressure. Comes by way of Brian Gomez. What an addition he's been to the side. 25 years old from Argentina. We talked about what he's been able to bring to the table. 2 goals and 3 assists in just 5 appearances, as Cody Mizell is sharp off of his line. And Mizell had one of his better games in a New Mexico United uniform, despite giving up 3 goals against Portland Timbers too.
What was most impressive, and you and I talked about it, was just the ability to have the calmness about him right after the goal. Unfortunately, some things dealing with malintent by the fans, bottles and liquids being thrown on the field.
Here's Salim Mohammed moving up the field, lashes it across and forces a challenge out of Yarrow. He's got his arm up for offside, and San Antonio FC, specifically the midfielders, are saying to the back line that he was on. And it just seemed to be a bit more miscommunication than anything, and now a corner kick coming up for New Mexico United. And we'll take another look.
Go back to Cody in a second. There's the movement out of the middle by Mohammed. That secondary piece next to Juan Pablo has been rotating just a bit. Seen a few guys in there. Tommy Madden has been outside and inside, and Akamatsu doing the same thing. Actually, like Tony Soler, seems like he's going to make a name for himself in the middle, but still very young, needs to be nurtured a bit more.
The goal relatively short. Padilla will send it back in. He's capable of great delivery, but this one not exactly his best.
And I want to go back to Cody Mizell for a second, the story we were telling, because he's a guy, a lot of fiery passion and emotion when it comes to a game, and a lot of times, to be fair, he kind of gets himself in trouble. That wasn't the case here. He was very professional in his whereabouts on the field, and T2 scores the go-ahead goal. Some things go on with the fans. He turns around, says, no, we're not about that. That's not going to happen going forward. That's not what this club is about. The club addressed it. The fan club addressed it. And they don't expect any more mishappenings going further. But it's just great to see a goalkeeper that even when you're down, you're not out. And you could say karma paid it off a bit. They get the game-time goal just at the end of things.
And Troy Lesane saying that that's what makes Cody one of the best both on and off the field. And one of our biggest talking points with Troy, really in all of our conversations with him this season, Devin, has been when he was putting this roster together, it's not just putting together a roster that's full of talented footballers, but just people of strong character. And it most certainly seems like he's been able to accomplish that, as well as some good footballers as well.
That's probably the biggest talking point, to be fair, when you look not just at New Mexico United, but around the league in general, because the character debate is one of the most difficult things to get right. You can bring in guys with skills, a lot of statistics, but if they don't mesh with the culture that you're trying to create or the one that's already there, and a la Phoenix Rising, a la Louisville City, if you bring in a guy and he just doesn't get along with everybody else, it doesn't matter what he does on the field, because off the field it can cause so much disruption. Troy Lesesne has done so well to put together not just 11, but 13, 14, 18 guys who make an impact both on and off the field.
Challenge from Juan Pablo Guzman. Here's San Antonio FC out of the back. It's good pace moving forward from Akan. He was about to take on the entire New Mexico United back line. Thinks better of it. It's not a bad ball in. Jamison. Great defending in the end. I believe it was Manny Padillo got a touch to it. And now New Mexico United looking to break out on the other end. Kevon Frater will be able to get there. Frater, reigning USL Championship Player of the Week for Sandoval! Flag stays down. New Mexico United go up. Excellent play from Frater. Sandoval with a terrific run. Easy enough on the finish. And the lab erupts in the 9th minute.
This is the guy who got the first goal in franchise history back on March 9th. He would be able to replicate that just a few games later in that 2-1 victory, game of the week against Tulsa. Well over a month since he'd been able to find the back of the net again. We paid off so much credit to the chances created. Devin Sandoval finding form once again in the starting 11. Kevon Frater uses the space occupied on the right side, plays a great ball across, and paying homage to Justin Schmidt and their fallen member. Again, this is all about family and culture for New Mexico United. They get one early.
That United goal was brought to you by your Delta Dental of New Mexico. Teeth mean business, and so does Devin Sandoval. So Kevon Frater, who's up for Player of the Month of April, of course, if you weren't aware of that, Devin.
I wasn't, to be fair. It's May. I mean, come on, dude. I actually woke up this morning, I looked at my wife, and I said, what day is it? And with all the games going on, so much action. Obviously, Game of Thrones going on tonight, which I don't watch, and you know that.
All you need to know
is it's on.
It's match day.
Yeah, not for us.
That doesn't need to be a day. It's just match day. Is that fair?
I think I've gotten away with that excuse for a while. It's match day every day in my house. So I can't really use that as an argument anymore. How about Frater, once again, making an impact. And I like that conversation, talking to Troy Lesesne, and we brought up Frater. I said, listen, you know, I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't ask about him, because we talk about Santi Mora, we talk about Josh Suggs. And the easy look is he had a hat trick last week versus T2. The second talking point is he's got 7 goals in 8 games.
Puts in a great tackle there as well.
Troy Lesesne took it a bit further. He goes, he doesn't get enough credit for his distribution. How about now? How about you take a look at me 10 minutes into the game on Sunday when everybody's watching us and still finds a way. He drifts out, gets down into the channel, picks his head up. It's all about confidence for Frater, and it's nice to see him back in the talking points of the USL.
Tell you what, Johnny Fennick didn't really have much of a chance on that Frater move as Cardoni was off of his line. Yarrow able to make the play, and San Antonio FC are absolutely scrambling at the back. New Mexico United have given them a few different looks in the first 11 minutes, and they have been not been able to deal with them appropriately thus far. mentioned before, Darren Powell's group were off to a woeful start. And it was really shocking considering how much talent they were able to bring in the offseason, talent that they kept from 2018. They draw Phoenix Rising in the first game. They go their first 4 without a win, including 3 losses. But then they bounce back, great response. Last 4 games, they get 3 wins. A disappointing one against the Monarchs, and to be completely honest, it should have been 4 wins in the last 4 games.
One of the biggest issues, for his squad is, what's your identity? So you've switched tactics a bit, and Darren said, things aren't much different. I'd like to disagree a little bit because you're no longer playing a 4-back system. Now you've got true 5 defenders on the field. A bit more of distribution out of Fennec and Akan, but still, things are different going forward, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But who have you really played so far? More importantly, who have you beat? I mean, you're 1-1 versus top 10 teams, which means 8 games in, you've really struggled versus the bottom half of the Western Conference, and that's not a good look. However, a good opportunity. You go on the road. You've struggled a bit early on, and now you come back in. You get a nice win versus Tacoma Defiance. Yeah, I get it. Things didn't go your way on the road on the tail end of it. Some questionable refereeing against Real Monarchs, but still a good chance to go on the road down early. Where's your character? We talked about New Mexico United, what they were able to do versus T2. Now it's your opportunity to step up because we already talked about who they have around the corner. You got to play Orange County, Tulsa, RGV. Very difficult schedule to manage.
Santi Moore is difficult to manage over out on the left wing. Early delivery looking for Sandoval. He was double teamed though. New Mexico United get a couple of deflections to that, and Sam Hamilton will be able to regroup. Fennec, 24-year-old from Newcastle. He actually played college ball with Rashid Tete, who's along the back line for New Mexico United. And they helped the High Point University Panthers to their first ever NCAA tournament during their collegiate years, as this one clipped over the top. Tete has it well covered. And what a revelation he's been, and add to the depth charts for Troy Lesane. Jameson brings it down. Still alive for San Antonio FC as the shot is scuffed over the bar. Kai Green, the New Jersey City native.
It's a bit better. And they're starting to find some tiny windows to play through. Actually don't mind the idea of Kai Green moving a bit forward. He's so athletic, and to be fair, probably had the handcuffs on him a bit through his stint with RGV, but an interesting one to say the least. And Tristan Echeverry told us coming into the 2018 season that he was the one that Dynamo really had their eye on. Thought he had an opportunity to progress. That wasn't the case. Probably went backwards, to be honest. Not necessarily in terms of form, but his ability to progress with the Houston organization.
Here's Sandoval on the other end, but the offside flag is up this time.
Darren Powell, a different story, though. Tends to nurture his players a bit differently, and obviously has the opportunity to tell himself what to do. Doesn't have to deal with the likes of Wilmer Cabrera at the next level. That's no disrespect to him, but sometimes there can be too many chefs in the kitchen, a lot of opinions being shared, and that can really hurt a player's development.
San Antonio starting to settle in after the opening goal from Devin Sandoval. This one poked through, intended for Gomez, and Tete can happily see it out of play right in front of the curse and New Mexico United supporters, as they are expecting the biggest crowd ever tonight at the Lab. And it was funny talking to Troy Lesane. We asked him, did you expect to get this sort of embrace from the New Mexico community? And he said, listen, I told our owner, and Troy's been around the league for a while.
Expectations.
Expectations. He said, if we can get 6,000 to 8,000, we are doing something special. And what does Peter say? Not good enough.
Pete Trevisani
It's not good enough.
got different ideas, and you know that's quality though. When your owner who steps in and goes to a guy who's been around this league and this country and the run of form for this game forever and says, back off. I got this.
Listen,
hold my water.
You coach, I'll handle the fans.
Exactly, and so to not necessarily tailor the expectations, but in a positive manner, push them in another direction, just goes to show you how this community feels about everything going on here and what they're capable of in every single match at the lab. Just proves to be better than the last.
Troy Lesesne saying that last week's game against Portland Timbers 2 was by far the loudest environment he's ever been in this country.
That's a guy who's been affiliated with the Charleston Battery, Vancouver Whitecaps, if I'm not mistaken, their affiliation.
He's coached and played in some massive college games as well, and I mean, mighty big words from Troy Lesesne and what went on at the lab last week on a 6-goal second half. Somos Unidos is the chant. San Antonio FC again in possession, looking dangerous, early delivery. And New Mexico United have it covered. That seems to be the theme in the opening 18 minutes or so, Devin, is that San Antonio get to that final stage of the field. They're looking for numbers in the area, and there doesn't really seem to be anybody home.
Sometimes it takes a bit to get going on the road. It's been no difference when teams come to the lab. But the big question is actually on the other side of things for New Mexico United. What will it be in the 65th minute, the 75th minute, the 85th minute? Too many a time we've seen them jump out in front, really take it to their opponent, only to be turned around in the second half. Troy Lesesne has admitted that. He said, look, you know, we're scoring great goals, we're doing awesome things on the offensive side, but how do we lock it up defensively? It's all about that movement going forward and coming back. There's a few coaches in the Western Conference who have the same sentiment. They have such amazing ability to go forward, but when they turn the ball over, they are exposed in so many different ways. And opposing coaches have found a way to break that down. And again, it may not happen in the only 20, 25 minutes, but they'll take it any way they can get it, even if it's in stoppage time in the second half.
Not a bad ball in. Wehan was a bit behind it. Padilla goes to ground. Is it a corner? No. In the games New Mexico has scored, it's only been 2 games where they haven't scored first. Tacoma Defiance, they still end up getting the win, and their only loss of the season against Reno. This is a club that's gotten off to great starts, Devin, to your point. But again, it's the game management piece, and you know, listen, Troy told us that everybody's learning in this situation, including himself and the players and everybody involved, as now San Antonio FC are going to be able to have an opportunity from the corner in the 20th minute.
Listen to this place. It is rocking. I mean, look at the flags, listen to the noise.
What?
Exactly. This makes it so difficult as a player, by the way. Communication is a massive key in this game. Your ability to have an ebb and flow with amongst your teammates all comes down to proper terminology. It's very difficult to do in general, yet alone when they're on the road and a hostile environment like this.
It'll be an in-swinger, not a bad ball in. Look who's there, Kavan Frater. First time effort, hit with the instep, blocked by Santi Moar. And Yaro's header out of play, and Cody Mizell appreciating the wall of black Meow Wolf jerseys that were stationed in front of him. 20 minutes gone here at the lab. Packed house, sold out. Devin Sandoval with the opening goal for New Mexico. San Antonio FC have settled in nicely since then, but really haven't created too much to be worried about if you're Troy Lesesne in this New Mexico group. Tyler Terrence along with Devin Kerr, glad to have you with us on this Cinco de Mayo. Frater puts in the challenge. Our head referee, Thomas Snyder, not interested in it. Pressure from behind by Muhammad, and it's good pressure at that as Cardoni forced to get rid of it. Wehan will bring it down. Juan Pablo Guzman looks to recycle. Josh Yarrow out of the back. Look at Sandoval with the pressure. Walter Restrepo gets it right back. Cuts it off to his left, thought about the shot, now pushes it out wide. Here's Mo Hernandez. His delivery all the way to the back post. Kai Green is there, one wing back to another, clipped in. New Mexico United scrambling. Hernandez lashes it across, and Restrepo with an outstretched foot was just trying to direct it home. And by far the most dangerous play we've seen from Darren Powell's group.
Now they're starting to play a bit. You can see. Easy for them to knock the ball around quite nicely. And those are two outside backs combining, by the way. Kai Green and Mo Hernandez converted outside backs into midfielders from one side to the other. I don't mind that, just having a crack at goal, put it into the middle. If it hits the frame, great. If not, somebody else can nick a little touch into the back. Restrepo tried to, unsuccessful, but much better from Darren Powell and his boys.
Tight quarters over there on the far side of the lab as they'll try to play out of pressure, and they'll use Cody Mizell as the safety valve. Select is the official ball supplier of the USL Championship and many of the finest leagues in the world. Since 1947, Select has been the leader in soccer ball quality and innovation. For the latest Select products and special offers, please visit selectsportamerica.com. Muhammad trying to curl one into the channel.
Look at how flat the midfield is, though. Just four right across. There used to be good depth to the movement of Michael Oud and Jack Barmby in the middle of the field. Jack Barmby, someone we haven't really talked about so far, coming over from the Portland Timbers organization, much like Santimar and David Estrada, maybe pushed to the wayside a bit, not necessarily getting the opportunity to make an appearance with the Timbers on a regular basis. Could be a regime change with the departure at the coaching level. But regardless, Cameron Knowles and co. deciding that they're going to part ways with Jack Barmby, and he's employed a bit of a different role here with San Antonio, to be honest. Really like the movement he's been able to exploit in the middle of the field. Primarily used on the left with Marvin Laurier on the right last year. Now he gets to play a bit more of a 10 role and explore the middle of the field, really be the creative playmaker. Can they utilize that a bit more to their liking?
Well, he explored the Tacoma Defiance back line with those two ridiculous goals a couple weeks ago. In the words of one of our colleagues, Gary Bailey, former Manchester United keeper, that left foot of his is like a wand. Gary's on our naughty list, though.
For the next couple days.
He's talking way too much smack for a Manchester United group that is now going to be happily enjoying some Europa League play.
Mark my words, though. So today is Sunday, May 5th. About to say March.
Yikes.
We have 8 days. 8 days. But to be fair, it could start tomorrow.
It's
but 8
starting
total
tomorrow.
days. It is starting tomorrow for Manchester City to drop points versus Leicester, and then Liverpool to take the reins and run with it.
What an unbelievable title race this has been over across the pond. And right now, New Mexico United, as it stands, the live table in the Western Conference, are atop the table Kavan Frater has it poked away by Gomez. And Lahoud will lead the charge the other way.
Table in the Western Conference is so bunched together. It really is weird because Austin Bold, a team who has started the season so flat, they definitely gotten better. Sitting on an 8 game, so they're behind most other teams right now, outside of the likes of Fresno. So they're sitting on 11 points in 14th. In their next game, their 9th game, if they get a win, virtually, they can vault in goal differential to 4th. Go figure. But they couldn't even sniff the East, by the way. It's totally different over there.
Here's Wehan. Fennec got a piece of it. Sandoval bringing it down. Padilla stood up. That's a great challenge on the near side from Brian Gomez. And now here's Bradford Jamison on the other end. Restrepo running with him. It's out wide for the Argentinian Gomez. 2 goals already for San Antonio FC. Here's Barmby. Just rolls one in, but it's right behind Walter Restrepo. And Restrepo, those 2 little sequences there, was not happy that the ball did not find his feet.
Restrepo wanted this ball out in front of him. Barmby actually thought the progression by Bradford Jamison was going to be the curler as he moved from the middle to the back post. That's why he played it flat on the ground, was trying to put it on his right foot when he peeled off. And unfortunately, there's been a disconnect for San Antonio between the front 4 so far. And I'm referencing Jamison, Restrepo, Gomez, and Barmby directly. You see a lot of 1- and 2-man games, but again, it goes back to that talking point coming into the match. How do you find it with the front 4 on a regular basis? They just haven't been able to do so over the course of 90 minutes so far.
The offside flag is up. Here's Restrepo. Thought about the shot initially. Barmby now. Loan from FC Dallas, Mo Hernandez. Back for Barmby, got it on that left foot. But got too much of it. And it rolls all the way through the infield here at Isotopes Park. Thomas Snyder getting involved in the game a bit more than he'd hope as the ball ricochets off of him, stays with San Antonio FC.
Notice how direct they are, though. Everything's a long ball, 20, 30-yard ball the other direction. They have to find a way to get Lahoud and Jack Barmby more involved in the run of play, connecting all the pieces going forward. And it's great that you can spray the ball back and forth, but you can't rely on just that change of direction every single time. It's really easy to pick those types of ball movements up, especially as a defender. You have no problem sitting back and letting that ball being played, to be honest, because that gives you more of an opportunity to shift across the field. San Antonio is struggling a bit with that right now.
Well, credit to New Mexico United, and it's not direct pressure, right? It's a bit more soft, and they're sort of screening the middle of the field for San Antonio, and what you mentioned is flat. And because of that, it seems like Lahoud and the middle of the park for San Antonio have to be bypassed.
Yeah, I mean, that's spot on. But to be fair, it's not like it's overly aggressive defensive movements. It's quite easy for an attacker to pick that up. Right now, Jack Barmby, you drop a bit deeper. Lahoud tends to be the one who sits below Barmby. So now, flop positions. Make them start second-guessing themselves in your movements, and that's really easy to go with San Antonio FC. They just need direction, and they haven't figured that out on their own yet. That comes to the manager, Darren Powell. Step up. Hey, boys, we have to switch things up a bit. They're starting to figure out our tendencies.
Out of the reach of Barmby, New Mexico United do their job defensively once more as Santi Moar shows a bit too much of that touch, and the foul will be called by Thomas Snyder. And in favor of San Antonio FC, but much to the dismay of the 13,000+ here in Albuquerque. Santi Moar, despite the 3 goals scored by New Mexico United, did not find a goal or an assist against Portland Timbers 2. And we asked Troy Lesane, was Santi Moar upset with his performance at all? And he said, listen, Santi's the type of guy that he's going to be upset if he scores a hat-trick, or if he doesn't score for 4 straight games. He's always going to be looking to improve, and he's always his harshest critic. And I'm sure it'll only be a matter of time before we see him back on the score sheet. As Walter Restrepo clips one in for Kai Green, but even for the pacey New Jersey native, a bit too quick. Was able to prevent the goal kick, though, and it'll be a throw-in for New Mexico. He's been relatively quiet, Captain Suggs.
Which normally you wouldn't be that upset about with your outside back, but Josh Suggs,
he's not exactly a typical outside back.
That kid could play every position on the field, couldn't he? Pretty much did for Steve Tritschu. Colorado Springs Switchbacks FC the past few years.
Frater lays it off for Sandoval. Mo Hernandez goes into the challenge. Darren Powell is looking all over Isotopes Park for a foul. He's not going to get one. Padilla lashes one in. Moar brings it down. Sandoval now. Around to Khan. Awkward bounce here. New Mexico United has some things to deal with, and Josh Suggs, the captain of this side, able to deal with it initially, but only as far as Kai Green. Restrepo. Look at Troy Lassay getting down in a defensive position in the New Mexico technical area. Patient from San Antonio. Restrepo now. Oh, that's a silky smooth little cutback. Restrepo still with it. Excellent play around Juan Pablo Guzman. Has to circle back around. Moises Hernandez gets Padilla in the air. Hernandez still with it. Back for Restrepo. And Muhammad got a piece of it, but the San Antonio left side of the field, particularly Restrepo and Moises Hernandez, had all the New Mexico United on skates, and Chris Wehan really frustrated. I can quite frankly say I don't think I've ever seen that much emotion on a negative side from Chris Wehan as he bulldozes over Mo Hernandez, and I'd be shocked if there's not a card here.
Wow. How is he not getting a yellow card? I mean, to get away with something like that right in front of the referee, Restrepo, stop it. I'm trying to tell a story here and you're killing me. Great technical ability in and around the box. Unfortunately, the execution lacking a bit once they did progress a bit further. Watch him as he makes the move out here. Wehan, to be honest, he gets the ball too far in front of him. He does get a little love tap. And right there, right in front of the referee, I get it, but it's always the second one.
It is always the second one, but if Thomas Snyder sees both, it's, for me, it's better to not give either of them a card and just say, cut it out or you're going to get one, rather than give Wehan the retaliation. If he didn't see the first, then by all means.
I can honestly say that I've never said this to you. I can respect your viewpoint.
We're having a moment, aren't we?
No, this. Move on. Let's go. Hydration break. Now we're having a moment. You know how I feel about hydration breaks. And Troy Lassay telling his boys, he was actually quite active, and you were talking about on the defensive side and really trying to get them a bit higher of a tempo. Feel like they're allowing San Antonio FC's too much space to play. And they just need to find a way. Just apply a bit more pressure. Kelsey Steele, how you doing? Nice to see you.
Just casually covered in front of the camera like that.
this is all about decision making once they do get into the final third for New Mexico United. And we've talked about all the chances created going forward. You see 5 guys in the top 50 in the Western Conference. And who's better to show off than Frater, tracking out of the middle, down into the channel. Wow, I mean, Fennec, just sit down at that point in time. Just let it happen. That's not a Band-Aid being torn off. You've just been thrown in front of a bus by the name of Kevon Frater. Runs right around you. Great ball across. Sandoval finishes it off.
You're ruthless on Cinco de Mayo.
I told you, nobody's safe, man.
Nobody's safe.
Nobody's safe.
So we resume play after Devin Kerr's favorite happening in all of football, a hydration break. In May? In May.
I don't care what month it is. I don't care where you are. No. No. I don't care.
I know you played in South Florida and the humidity and the whole thing.
And you know what? Everybody is entitled to their opinion, as am I. And if you want to come toe-to-toe, I will back off because I will not change my viewpoint with regard to a hydration break. Because people, we'll just say this, medically things have changed over the course of the years. That's probably why I'm sitting here and they're out there now.
Barmby on the set piece. It's actually a thumping header, but thumped right into the Kerrs. '39th minute, Devin Sandoval with the lone goal. Devin, anything surprise you at this point?
Not really. And to be honest, you asked me what I thought the prediction would be. We can share that with the fans after the match is over. But it's kind of following suit at this point in time. Home squad comes out, they get an early goal. And to be fair, they really haven't had a massive amount of chances since then. San Antonio FC started to find their way back into the match, albeit in patches. And that's probably how this match is going to go, assuming United can finish it off. And that's been their biggest issue, is down the stretch. Can they close the match out? Troy was saying that's been one of their biggest issues so far, is trying to find a way to complete a full 90.
Sandoval could be in here, but Matt Cardoni is off. And off of his line. Fans follow New Mexico United and San Antonio FC in the rest of the USL Championship all season long on ESPN Plus, home to the USL, MLS, UFC, and more. Join the over 2 million sports fans who have already discovered ESPN Plus and watch the championship live every week. Sign up today at Devin Kerr's second home, ESPNplus.com. You got it on your living room TV, all propped up.
It's more comfortable doing prep work out there. Hang out with the dogs.
Yep.
You know?
I feel it.
Can turn on Alexa.
Here's Josh Suggs trying to pull one back for Kevon Frater, but good defensive play from Michael LaHood, who was tracking the whole way.
Tell you, you haven't experienced ESPN Plus unless it's with a slushy and Pandora playing in the background. It's a whole nother world.
When did you have a slushy?
Don't tell Casey. But you look at the San Antonio squad, and ever since they have moved into this, you want to call it a 3-4-3, you want to call it a 5-3-2, whatever it may be, they've actually done quite well for themselves from a result standpoint. Win Vegas, win Los Dos, probably should have won the Real Monarchs game, and then win Tacoma.
Moises Hernandez, a good ball in. Sam Hamilton is the first to it. Kai Green, just be able to see it out of play. A little pump fake there from Kai Green.
Played the formation 4 times. Should have gotten 4 victories. Still a 3-2 loss at this point in time right now on the road to Real Monarchs. That's never usually a bad loss when you look at the standings at the end of the year. You just don't want to look back on it and say, what if? That's what Darren Powell and his boys had to do in the 2018 season, only missing a playoff spot by 3 points.
Moises Hernandez, a great little shimmy. Falls for Green. Again, one wing back to another. Barmby looking for the curler. Where have we seen that before? Just has Tacoma Defiance. And he was one of the off-season signings for San Antonio FC. When I saw that come across my Twitter feed, I was like, yep, that's a decent one.
That boy good. He's a good player, man. He really is. And unfortunately for him, he just, he didn't make his way. Once once things changed a bit in Portland, you know, he was getting looks.
Well, there was another lefty who came in.
Yeah.
He's kind of a baller, and his name is Marvin Loria.
Yeah. And even he's struggling now, but it's not because of form. It's because of injury. You know, he had it at the beginning of the year. Cameron Knowles told us that he probably would be making Timbers action on a regular basis were it not be for a late preseason injury. How about Ebia Khan? Frater's got to be careful here, sitting on 4 yellow cards, 1 more, and he goes into suspension for accumulation. To be honest, 2 of those have been quite silly. The Phoenix Rising yellow card, where it's just kind of, I'm going to shove you, push you out of the way, and then turned around. He didn't want to celebrate the goal, but had no problem shoving someone over in the middle of the field right in front of the referee. He's got to be smarter in situations like that. Done so well to be such an asset to your squad. No reason to step out for poor decisions.
Barmby. Frater got a toe to it, only as far as Ebia Khan. Restrepo, great little flick from Moises Hernandez. Barmby could be in here, and Mizell can happily see it over the bar. But Jack Barmby's starting to find little pockets of space.
There he is. We all talked about the interchanging play. How about Barmby? We said he likes this left-hand side. That's where he played under Cameron Knowles. And T2 just rotates out. Nice step in. There's the interchange between the front 3. Restrepo, Bradford, Jamison, Gomez starting to flip-flop a bit. New Mexico United are being asked questions at the close of this first half, doing well.
Trouble for a Khan. Sandoval was making sure they couldn't go back to Cardoni. Now here's Wehan with the pressure. Yarrow. Cardoni not exactly known for his footwork. He is known for his beard, however.
It's pretty.
Is that the word you would use, pretty?
Yeah, it's pretty. No, he's got a man's beard. That's a man's beard. The general in Nashville has a pretty beard.
It's groomed.
Yeah. Manicured, I believe, is the appropriate term.
There you go. Much like your fingernails. Here's Santi Moar. Challenge comes in, and a corner kick coming up for the home side as we're knocking on the door of halftime. And we're here, and we're going to have 4 minutes of stoppage time. That comes courtesy of our producer extraordinaire, Miss Sharna Yerke. She's the best. Really.
She's not bad.
Nobody's safe.
She's not good. She's not bad. No, she's the best. She truly takes great care of us and allows us to at least try and put on a show to make the fans happy.
Near post, and Cardoni almost spilled it. Now San Antonio FC looking to break out the other way.
Look at the back post, wide open. Switch it quickly. All the way over, boys. Pick your head up.
Barmby was trying to turn around and get it on his left peg so he could play it, but Sam Hamilton wasn't having any of that. Frater's gonna go ahead and play it. He's amazing.
How about the linesman? I mean, give him credit, because
Credit for what?
it's not that it's that difficult, but tell me you wouldn't expect some other linesman to let this play continue on.
If there's any linesman that's letting that go on,
Easy. Would you really be that surprised?
oh, yes, at that I would. At that I would. Listen, you and I did the Loudoun United Bethlehem Steel game, and there was one call in particular on offsides that was, we won't go there. But with that, let's come on, Frater, able to draw the foul. Moises Hernandez not too happy about it. Chris Wehan continuing to come to his teammates' aid. And Moises Hernandez shown mustard here. Stoppage time in the first half.
The referee showed a side to the yellow card. Card issued to San Antonio FC.
Darren Powell actually wanted a foul from the reach out by Frater. His arm was a bit overextended, but not necessarily impeding Mo Hernandez.
That Seitel yellow card was issued to San Antonio's FC number 2, Moises Hernandez. About a minute and a half or so into this stoppage time, which of course is brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. Devin, we're in the orange zone now.
That place takes over my home, 6:30 every Thursday morning. Alarm goes off, wife goes out the door. I get up, prep work starts going. I immediately go right back to bed. Decide I'll start again later.
Wehan, edge of the area. Tete, a bit of a heavy touch, able to clean it up though. Good challenge from Fenech. And Juan Pablo Guzman will go in negative fashion. Suggs wasn't told that he had a man on, and Bradford Jamieson almost made the most of it. Long ball the other way for Sandoval, as we're into the last minute of these 4 added on. Abia Khan trying to pick out Moises Hernandez, but it was a tall task. Moar. Out of the reach of Barmby. Tete says thank you very much. Sandoval back for Frater, and Fenech puts in a bone-crunching challenge as Kevon Frater is starting to take a beating at the end of the first half. And a set piece coming up for New Mexico.
Thomas Schneider letting him know how he feels about this challenge. Fenech had the right idea, to be fair. He's just slow to get there. Frater had much better of a first step to get a little touch on the ball. And as Fenech stepped up in, his body motion had already started. The movement could not be stopped. Just barreled over into him.
He did get the ball, but the fact that it was two-legged, studs are showing, the whole thing.
How about the meeting of the minds right now? Those 5. Chances created, goals, you name it, assists. Devin Sandoval looking like he's the one to possibly have the go from here, but to be honest, with the angle, I'd rather see Josh Suggs over this ball.
I was going to say Suggs or Frater.
I'd rather see Josh Suggs with that left foot of his and the way things are playing out, but now Wehan stepping over it. Any chance for an overlapping run? Maybe Guzman peeling off the wall as he starts to step in. And just put something down here, knock it back across the 6. He's not lined up like he's going to hit it. He is too straightforward to put this on frame.
Wehan, a bit wasted, and that's going to do it for the first half from a packed lab. It's 1-0 in favor of the home side, thanks to Devin Sandoval's opening goal in the 9th minute, courtesy of a terrific play from Kevon Frater. Sandoval's 3rd goal this season. New Mexico United with a slight edge as we head into the locker rooms. Devin, your thoughts?
San Antonio started to find their moments in the first half, but Darren Powell will tell his boys, stay composed, we're still in this game. When you get your chances, you have to finish. New Mexico United, stop me if you've heard this before, up at halftime, time to close the match out. We said the key was put together a full 90. You're halfway through it. Let's see it out.
Well, the New Mexico United fans have been able to see an opening goal. Will they be able to see yet another win here at Isotopes Park. They're well on their way. Kevon Frater continues to be in terrific form. Sandoval the beneficiary. We're headed to halftime. New Mexico United 1 is San Antonio FC 0. Don't go anywhere. Halftime here in Albuquerque, and we hope that you folks at home who have been kind enough to tune in on this beautiful Cinco de Mayo are enjoying a snack, a beverage, perhaps an adult beverage, and are enjoying this time off from the beautiful game as we have 45 minutes ahead that should be electric. 1-0 to New Mexico United over San Antonio FC. Tyler Terrence along with Devin Kerr, and we'll take a look at these two sides so far as Devin, we're a quarter of the way through the season, more or less? A little bit more than that, right? Third?
Go figure.
Fractions.
Quarter.
Quarter?
Carry the one.
Sure.
Yep.
Whatever you got.
Yep.
I mean, New Mexico coming into this, you and I talked during the offseason. We said, all the pieces are good. Are they going to be able to gel together? The answer so far seems to be yes. Meanwhile, San Antonio on the other side, especially having seen them in week 1, probably should be a bit better.
Well, for New Mexico United, they gel-ish. And I mean that again because it goes back to that 90 minutes thing. You know, it's a storyline we don't want to talk about, but Fresno tie, Phoenix tie, Roughnecks eked it out, Orange County tie, struggled against Reno. I mean, you're lucky to be sitting atop the West right now, to be honest. Sitting right there.
Well, if everybody in the West wasn't beating up on each other, they wouldn't be.
Fair enough. San Antonio, on the other hand, how they're getting there. They're slowly getting it, and they've struggled, but they struggle versus the bottom half. 1-1 versus the top 10. I get that. You haven't really played anyone yet, which is probably a cause for concern. However, their best performances have been as of late. So now you get the opportunity to go on the road. I get it, you're down 1-0, but go get a point. Why not? Go get a point. Go play the Monarchs. Go play OKC Energy. Go get some momentum to continue this push in your season, moving philosophically in another direction.
Well, we got news, notes, standings, and a whole lot more coming up after the break. Stay with us.
Body shot! Score!
Now Morton's coming up. It's headed and in.
Nodded back in. Sandoval is there. So is Hamilton. Loose in front. It's Freighter! What a hit! New Mexico equalized in the dying moments. It's a hat trick for Freighter. Unbelievable at the lab.
Juan Pablo Capa with a direct free kick. Chips it. A goal! The equalizer for the captain.
Lomas in. Lomas! And how about North Carolina FC? Lomas with his 6th goal this season. Back to the goal scorer. Barnby will try again. And another.
That is absolutely world class. That is much harder than it looks to do.
Didi Traore. Oh my goodness, what a run. Didi Traore crosses. Didi Traore! It is a work of magnificence.
Incredible stuff from the USL Championship week number 8 as we are wrapping up week number 9. New Mexico United trying to finish it off on a high note. Meanwhile, San Antonio FC, as Devin Kerr just said, and I quote, go get a point. Well, I'm sure that's the message, perhaps plus a point or two from Darren Powell, though you can't get 2 points from a game last time I checked. And we'll take a look at some news and notes from around the... What are you laughing at over there?
2 points. Go figure. Only you.
Come on, Freighter, of course, coming off of his Player of the Week honors. Cody Mizell, Save of the Week. New Mexico United, more or less the Team of the Week, if that was an award. And Freighter up for Player of the Month as well in the 11 Soccer-specific stadium. The vaunted Triple S coming along swimmingly. Loudoun United and Hartford both had their home openers in air quotes at their temporary homes. Loudoun United at Audi Field and Hartford at Rentschler, and both of them ended up in a draw. Go figure. Devin Kerr, let's take a look at the standings in the West on this Cinco de Mayo. It's only May, but we can start to take a look now. We got one of the teams at the top of the table, San Antonio FC, not featured on your screen, but as we talked about, one win can basically hurtle you into a world of glory.
I mean, honestly, the only 2 teams that don't have a say at this point in time are Tacoma Defiance and Colorado Springs Switchbacks, because a win won't get them into the talking point of the playoffs. Everybody else, 16 teams right now, 1 win, 1 loss, you're in or out of the playoff race, and that kind of gives you an idea of what's going on in the West. The East is a whole nother argument, and now they are not closely grouped together, but you know, you're starting to see some familiar faces. T2 back in there. Tulsa Roughnecks, the newcomer on the block under Michael Incian, proving that they can turn things around. Luca Lobo, figure, outside back, used to be a center back, now in the Golden Boots. I don't know, I'm confused. It's Sunday.
It's Sunday.
Yep.
You got it. Okay. Let's take a look at Saturday's games. Fresno 4-2 win over the Monarchs. OKC Energy FC eking by Tacoma Defiance. And Orange County with a revenge game against Phoenix Rising, Western Conference final rematch from a year ago. Reno and Tulsa, that was an interesting one, finishes 2-2. And how about Los Dos? I mean, those are the kind of results that have basically been a byproduct of what you see in the standings, right? Is like that result. Or Los Dos getting a win against a team that they're not going to get a win against in August or September, but because it's the beginning of the season, the parity is like exacerbated by 1,000.
Well, it's Sac Republic. Like, you get a result against Sacramento Republic, really? I mean, to be fair, they were a little out of sorts against Phoenix the week before when they were at home, but Phoenix did a good job going in there. But Sacramento Republic's other loss, Tacoma Defiance. So, I mean...
Yeah, but they brought that, you know, they had Trey Wingo, Will Bruin, all those guys.
Yeah, okay.
You're not convinced.
Nobody's safe.
Nobody's safe, including the 13,000 plus here at the Lab. Second half right around the corner. Don't move a muscle.
Hey, where's Roush and Justin?
I don't know, bro.
Yo, this is crazy. Y'all gotta come check this out. Come on, come on.
Almost ready for the second half here at the Lab. New Mexico United clinging on to a 1-0 lead, but as Devin has mentioned before, and as a lot of New Mexico United fans and savvy USL Championship fans will know, that New Mexico United has not exactly been keepers of the gate when it comes to holding on to leads. Tyler Terrans along with the ex-German pro Devin Kerr, and we'll take a look at what happened in the first half. And first 10 minutes, Devin, you just could sort of sense that New Mexico United were going to get one.
Goes all back to Frater and his opportunity to operate in another dimension. Saying, and a lot of other coaches telling us that, you know, it's the mental game for him. Wasn't able to get it going in Phoenix, but he got it going inside 10 minutes here. Great ball into the back post. Did such a good job moving out of the middle to allow Sandoval to continue to push his run up top. Just puts it on a platter for him, and the big guy up top finishes. 9 minutes and change, 1-0, New Mexico United.
Terrific play from Kavan Frater, who again is up for Player of the Month in April, and he might just very well win it. Meanwhile, San Antonio FC, after the goal, it was a bit of a wake-up call. They started to settle in, but we really didn't see them start to truly show their true colors of silver, black, and red until around the 25th, 30th minute mark.
This is all about formation for them, and it's great that you've made the changes, and tactically things are a bit different, but you still have to have an idea and an identity of what you want to do going forward. They were so flat, didn't have any ingenuity moving forward. You started to see Barnby shifting from the middle to the outside. Kai Green got involved. He had the initial chance where he tucked in, and you don't see him cut it back a lot, but that's what they need to be able to do to be successful going forward. Obviously, you take a look at the statistics, pretty even possession-wise. That doesn't matter. Throw that out the window. Shots and shots on target. New Mexico United, one of the most efficient teams, not just in the Western Conference, and USL in general. Yeah, they need to lock it up defensively, but they always find a way to score goals. San Antonio has struggled with that, and you're starting to get an idea of that. 7 of them, none of them have hit target. So Darren Powell will say something to him. Going forward, that's great. Jack Barnby, shot from distance. Kai Green from distance. Restrepo from 20 yards out. Give Cody Mizell something to think about. They haven't done that yet.
Is it as simple as that, though? Because we talk about this all the time. As a coach, the attacking third is more or less out of your control. It's up to the players. They need to go and express themselves and make things happen. If your guys aren't hitting the target, what are you supposed to say?
Execute. It's real simple. You're a coach.
But they know that.
Okay. If they don't figure it out in the next 45 minutes, the next 90 minutes, you can come have a seat next to me. I'll show you someone else who will know it, and it means something to wear that badge. If you're a coach and I say, here's the deal, I'll give you some of the most offensively talented players in this league. They can have 7 shots. I'm not sure if any are going to hit the target. You might have a chance 1, maybe 2. I'll give you another set of guys. I'm only going to give you 5 shots. They probably might not be as tactically talented. They might not be as great on the ball. They might not be as dynamic going forward. But 3 out of the 5 are going to hit the target. Who are you going to take?
I would obviously much rather the second group.
There's your answer right there, then. That's why they're up 1-0.
But that's not the answer to my question.
Really is.
But I'm asking you, it's out of Darren Powell's hands. And it's almost, you're almost getting into their heads even more if you say, go out there and execute and hit the target. Of course they're trying to hit the target.
I get it. Try harder. No, hear me out for a second.
All right.
Hear me out. You're on the field for a reason. You're in the starting 11 for a reason. You've trained and worked all week long, and based upon your performances, what you've put in training, and the games from the previous weeks, that's why you're out there. You're not going to continue to get that opportunity if you don't perform. So all of these guys sitting in that front 3 or 4, I mean, I can tell you right now, what have you seen out of Bradford Jamison? Nothing. He's been quiet. He really hasn't done anything. Now, he started to have better movements towards the end of the first half. He hasn't had a shot on goal. He hasn't really done anything. Walter Restrepo starting to move in and out. Jack Barnby, to be honest, probably to explore a bit more than others, and they need him to. But still, nobody has been able to do anything against Cody Mizell. Cody Mizell's a good goalkeeper. But if you don't challenge him, how are you going to know what he's made of?
Other side, New Mexico United. They floated in and out after the goal. I mean, there were some times where they didn't touch the ball. There were times where they had possession, but it wasn't necessarily purposeful, the big buzzword in your vocabulary. What's the message from Troy Lesesne?
Be careful. You're following a similar slope we've seen you go down before, and there are skeletons to be had there that you don't want to open that closet door. That's okay. You're up again in a great position. Have confidence in yourself. Have confidence in your performances, because so many a time before you've come out and you've gone and gotten a second goal. You've gone and gotten a third goal, but then you faltered down the stretch. Forget about the past. This is another 45 minutes, another opportunity to showcase why you should be atop the Western Conference. Now, much like San Antonio trying to hit the frame, New Mexico United, you go execute.
Well, as it stands, New Mexico United live table are on top of the West as we're officially underway in the second half here at the Lab in front of more than 13,000. They're expecting this to be the largest crowd on hand ever for a New Mexico United game, of course, in their inaugural season. We'll get the official attendance numbers in probably about 15 to 20 minutes. Tyler Terrence along with Devin Kerr. Glad to have you with us on this Cinco de Mayo. Devin Sandoval with the lone goal so far in the 9th minute. No changes at the half for either side. Cody Mizell launches it the other way. Goes back for Cardoni. We mentioned before that he's not exactly the sharpest with his feet. However, he is a great shot stopper and a great leader, moving from the back to the front for Darren Powell and San Antonio FC. San Antonio through and through, Matt Cardoni has not had to leave the state of Texas in all of his footballing endeavors. Youth, college, professional.
Must be nice. Good retirement plan. It's impressive to get the opportunity to play anywhere near your hometown base, to be honest. I mean, most of professional athletes, they leave for their collegiate careers, or they leave from a footballing standpoint at the youth level, go abroad, go to another town to a developmental academy. And Cardoni getting the opportunity to continuously showcase himself to the hometown fans.
He volunteered for the goalkeeping position at 11 years old in a CYO game and never left.
Never left the CYO game?
Chris Wehan was trying something clever to find Sandoval. That clearance is right to Santi Moar. This could be dangerous for San Antonio as Moar forces the save out of Cardoni. Falls for Wehan. Clips one in looking for Sandoval, but it's over his head. Kai Green lets it bounce. Takes a crazy touch over towards the sideline. Somehow able to recover and keep it in play. And now San Antonio FC breaking out on the other end. Look at the pace from Brian Gomez. Nobody stepping to him. Gomez, the save from Mizell. And finally, the Georgia native with his first involvement in tonight's match. And Brian Gomez showing you what he's capable of.
Lovely run by Jamison on the back post, and he's not going to get enough credit, but he does such a good job at holding up the center back. And Rashid Tite just drifting on the back post, allowing San Antonio FC to come a bit further. And that's going to look like initially this ball is hit right at Cody Mizell. That's not the case. It's actually cutting back towards the near post. Very difficult save.
Loose in front. Mizell wanted to get there, but it was cleared away first, only as far as Lahoud. Back for Barmby. Has it on that left peg. Whips one in and just over the head of Wehan.
So it's funny, you started that story about Matt Cardoni, and at the youth level, just needed the opportunity, went out there, never left. Heard a really similar story about someone at a very high level recently. Guy who came up through the Sunderland youth system. Just one day, they needed a couple extra pair of hands. He had never played before. Come play goalkeeper, jumped in goal. Progressed up through the youth ranks at Sunderland. Made it to the first team, got sold. Any idea who it was? Jordan Pickford. Now the starting goalkeeper for the English national team, by the way.
Wow.
What a story that is. I mean, you just think you never see that path, right? It's always, okay, you start at a young age, you train, you progress through the ranks, you get up, and now you get the opportunity. And some of these guys, they almost just fall into the opportunity and make the most out of it. Two great examples.
That'll explain why Pickford is great with his feet and just sort of has a really good feel for the game along the back line. Here's Wehan. Now it's Suggs. First time we've seen him get forward tonight. Moar now wants the curler, but blocked in front in San Antonio FC. Read their scouting report not once, not twice, but probably 3 or 4 times, and knowing that Santi is always going to be cutting in on his right foot from that left-hand side. However, scored a great goal with his left foot, I believe, in that USL Championship game of the week against Tulsa, if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Devin Kerr. Sandoval curling one in for Frater. He's onside. Here comes the electric Jamaican. Wehan has to scamper to keep it in. He's able to do so. Has to break with the sand coming into play. Wehan around one defender. Knocks it in. Akan is there. And it's a rough challenge from Mohammed. And Thomas Snyder blowing the play dead. Starting to open up a bit.
It was a difficult ball for Wehan to play because he had already started to cut inside and had to kind of rotate around the ball. Frater was sitting on the back post with a boatload of unoccupied space. Just couldn't pick him out, and that's one of the things that starts to happen with United. When they start to press a bit, if they don't go in that fluid motion that we talked about, Trilla Singh says that's one of our problems. When we go forward, it can't just be 2, 3, 4 guys. Everybody has to step. And when they don't, a lot of movement to be had in the middle of the field and on the wings for the opposing teams. We've seen it from Phoenix Rising, Orange County SC, all teams that understand what can go on in the second half. San Antonio starting to figure things out as well.
Here's Barmby around the corner. Almost snapped that off. Sandoval, a great first touch. Still with it, showing great strength. And now it's Santi Moar. Frater, over for Wehan. Padilla coming around the bend. Wehan still with it. Gets it back from Sandoval. Wehan, was there a handball? No, there was not. And San Antonio FC clear it off the line. That looked mighty close. And the Lab is not particularly happy with the no call.
Lab's not going to be happy with the no call. But this is professionalism at its highest point from Wehan. Didn't panic when he didn't get the look at goal.
Here's Moar on the first time. He got all of that, but it was blocked before it could get to Cardoni.
Wehan doesn't panic. Allows him to get the nice 1-2 at the top of the box, and then Suggs speeds things up a bit on the long throw to Frater, who dropped it right on the doorstep. Santi Moar tried to have a go with Cardoni. You can feel this home crowd just starting to squeak back into things a bit. Not necessarily the best start to the second half, but starting to find a bit of form.
Crown Plaza corner kick. Corner's low. The initial dummy got through, but not all too far. Mohammed. Now it's Suggs. Sandoval was asking for it. He might get there. But Cardoni gets there first. San Antonio on the other end. Good defending from Hamilton. Now here comes Padilla to double down. And New Mexico United keep it in play and win the ball back. And the class really starting to show from both sides in the first 10 minutes of the second half, as it looks like David Estrada is getting set to come on for Troy Lesesne.
And you have to wonder with David Estrada if something's going on there. Again, you have to have squad rotation when you have so many games grouped together. But he hasn't truly had the opportunity. Now 2 matches in a row, not in the starting 11. Ken Akamatsu, last match out, came on as a late game substitute, and now Wehan started on the right. Estrada getting the opportunity. I wonder if it's a planned sub as well, just 10 minutes into the second half. Just maybe he didn't necessarily like the run of play at the end of the first. Had the conversation in the dressing room and said, all right, boys, if we get the same look, we're going to switch things up a bit. To be honest, wouldn't be surprised if you see the likes of Muhammad to step off, allow Wehan to step inside, jump in front of Guzman, and then Estrada tuck on that right wing.
Substitution brought to you by REDW.
And it is going to be Sandoval making way for David Estrada. But Sandoval, who had the first ever goal in New Mexico United history, certainly did his job tonight. Bags another, his 3rd of the season. Now we'll get a look at how it all went down in the 9th minute.
Beautiful play by Frater. And to be fair, all the hard work was done by the Jamaican, but still had to be finished off by Devin Sandoval. Not very happy to come off right now, to be honest. And you can see a bit of questioning and the looks being thrown around, but still a good shift by him. Maybe not necessarily as long as he wanted him to be. A great opportunity for Estrada to come in. That'll probably push Frater up higher. Wehan in the middle, Estrada to the right wing.
And all substitutions are brought to you by REDW, CPA, and advisors. There's no substitution for integrity. Here's David Estrada getting his first touch. Manny Padilla with terrific defending, although it's going to be called a foul. Tete. Strong work defensively once more, as him and Sam Hamilton have really locked down the back line with the help of their outside backs and Manny Padilla. And David Estrada, who just came on, wasn't exactly recruited all that much out of high school just because his parents couldn't really afford club or academy. So what does he decide to do? He decides to dominate the high school scene. He led the country with 66 goals his senior year, as Santi Moar could be in here. Moar cuts it back, lays it off. Wehan, 2 for New Mexico United. Patience from Moar, lethal from Wehan. And they double their delight at the lab.
Unselfish play from Santi Moar. You hometown fans want an idea of what this kid has been able to do the past couple years for Bethlehem Steel FC? This is exactly it. You've seen the goal scoring delight, you've seen the distribution. What you have not seen is his ability to impose his will on an entire back line when he's not the one doing the damage in the back of the net. Great one-on-one challenge. Kai Green gets turned around, and he knows that his number 10 is going to be the trailing run, and Chris Wehan pulls it back, sets it up. Wehan, so tactful in execution, able to get the second, and New Mexico United, once again, just 30 minutes to play, have their excellent lead.
That United goal was brought to you by your Delta Dental of New Mexico. Teeth mean business, and so does Chris Wehan.
Substitution brought to you by REDW. Entering the game for San Antonio FC, number 99, Edward Guzman.
So Ever Guzman comes on as offensive reinforcements for Darren Powell. And New Mexico United with a 2-0 lead. And as Devin Kerr mentioned, we have seen this show before. Troy Lesesne and company trying to change the ending that we've seen so many times in their inaugural season thus far. Here's Moar. Frater gets it away from Moar. 2v1 if they hurry. Moar tried to get over for Frater. He probably rushed that a bit. Fennick was shading over towards the Jamaican, thinking that Moar was going to dish it out. He did. Here's David Estrada now, and San Antonio FC on the road forced to really open things up, and that's leaving them all sorts of exposed at the back. And every time they give the ball away, New Mexico United are off and running in the other direction.
If you're Darren Powell, you just have to find a way to calm the storm a bit right now. Home squad has the better run of play, better possession, better chances, and the crowd is most certainly into it. Just get on it, remain composed, take your time, still have plenty of it.
So it's Guzman who replaced Bradford Jamison during the pandemonium that erupted after the Chris Wehan goal, as Kavan Frater a bit too handsy there. And of course that substitution brought to you by RED WCPA and advisors, as Kai Green peeling one back. Ryan Gomez tried to knock it across, but blocked before it could get any further. And here comes New Mexico United again. Frater back for Wehan. All sorts of space for Troy Lesesne's group. Wehan taking it, already a goal tonight. Wehan! They can't be stopped at the moment. Wehan is second of the night, second of the second half. And New Mexico United running away with it.
Chris Wehan made his name as the assist maker, tied the USL record back in 2017 under Ian Russell, under Reno 1868 FC. Kind of fell out of favor last year, but still had goal-scoring prowess. And how about this? Just one-on-one. Mano a mano, takes a look up, he looks across his body, he's so low, he knows it. You have no option whatsoever but to go right at Matt Cardoni. Gives a shimmy to the left, a finish to the right, and just in a matter of minutes, this place has exploded. New Mexico United, once again, I mean, it's a story that's been told so many times so far in the 2019 season, where they just come out and blow the roof off this place. Beyond impressive from the home squad about midway through the second half.
And that United goal was brought to you by your Delta Dental of New Mexico. Teeth mean business. Where have you heard this before? And so does Chris Wehan. I mean, it was just reckless abandon from the wingbacks of San Antonio FC. I'm sure that was the message from Darren Powell, but as soon as the second goal goes in, I mean, there was no defending whatsoever for San Antonio.
You have to leave it, and Kai Green is pushed way too high. Ebia Khan was out of position. He actually tucked back inside. The guy laying chase to Wehan, that's Jack Barmby. That's your attacking midfielder who, credit to him, is being a two-way box-to-box type guy, going back and forth. But that's not who you want laying chase in that situation. And unfortunately, just all out of sorts for San Antonio FC right now. Again, still plenty of time for them to get some work done here in the second half, but they have not had an answer for the home squad so far.
Well, if they squander this lead, don't really see it happening at this point, but we've seen crazier things. Just ask RGV and Los Dos from a couple weeks ago. Moises Hernandez tried something cute, didn't come off all that well. Walter Restrepo now. Restrepo denied by Tete. Good play from Barmby. Better from Suggs. It's like a double switch getting ready to come on for Darren Powell as Forbes and Pirano waiting to come on. Perhaps they can come on after San Antonio pull one back. But Salim Muhammad and company not having any of it. Here's Frater on the other end. Restrepo in for Gomez. Good flick for Kai Green. Green, good ball across. Moises Hernandez was there. Back in from Restrepo, but way too much on it. And New Mexico United can take a deep breath as Cody Mizell just making sure that everybody's minding their P's and Q's in the midfield and defense.
Good chance for Mizell to slow things down as well. That emotional high can definitely work for you, and it's exactly what went on for New Mexico United. But now maybe tone things down a little bit, regroup yourselves. We've talked about their inability to close games out in the past. Now's a good chance to see things out. Up 3-0, 20+ minutes to go. Substitutions and fresh legs, more importantly, coming on for Down Pal squad. Just need to stay mentally sharp. And look who. Christian Pirano, this is one of the more dynamic players that has made his introduction to the USL in the 2019 season. Super fun to watch. He's a guy who can give you many a different look, much like Chris Wehan drifts in and out of all the channels, checks most of the boxes. Height isn't necessarily one of them, but tactfully is so good on the ball and loves a 1v1 challenge.
Well, he committed one of the cardinal sins of the footballing world, partaking in both Boca Juniors and River Plate academies coming up through the ranks in Argentina, and actually landed in San Martin in their academy, just 19 years old. Padilla got a touch to it. It's pretty amazing that for basically 3/4 of the goals for New Mexico United coming from Santi Moar and Kavan Frater. Neither of them have scored tonight. However, both of them involved from the assist standpoint as Pirano lashes one across. Kavan Frater assisted on Sandoval's opening goal and Wehan's second. Moar with the assist on Wehan's first goal.
All goes full circle to the conversation with Troy Lesang telling us that Frater doesn't get enough credit, that people need to understand how good he is with the ball at his feet. He's definitely shown us that twice this evening so far. We already knew that about Santi Moar, though I think the introduction to New Mexico United fans needed to be had in that area. He's been known for high pace and precision in or around the goal. And now they get the understanding of what the Philadelphia Union organization saw out of him and his ability to create chances and set others up as well.
Well, the wave is making waves throughout the lab, and it's making waves throughout the broadcast booth as well, as Devin Kurt, party of one, performing his own wave.
My mother always said that I marched to the beat of my own drum. I didn't even know I could play an instrument.
You sure do. Suggs goes to ground. And San Antonio FC just look all out of whack. I do apologize for any technical difficulties you may be experiencing. We're trying to sort it out. Santi Moar bringing it down. Kai Green got a touch to it, almost running out of play. And Moar with good pressure locks them in, and a throw in for San Antonio FC. See what it says on the back of the ball boy shirts.
Tell me.
Ball manager.
They've done well. There was a time in the first half. We're down in the far corner. Nobody could get a ball. San Antonio FC looking around. There are actually 3 sitting in near vicinity. I learned as a young man that don't throw it to the opposition. Just stand there and look pretty. Still doing it.
It's looking pretty for San Antonio FC. Barbie on the first time, blocked by Tete. Back in, Billy Forbes trying to get a touch to it. And Forbes called for the foul.
Fans, tonight's official attendance, 15,023.
I didn't know that was allowed. I mean, that's significantly over capacity.
You knew there was going to be an experiment going on out here, but that's insane. The lab has turned out something special on a Sunday evening. And unfortunately for San Antonio, they have had to bear the full brunt of it so far.
15,023 in a park that theoretically is only supposed to hold 13,500. Largest crowd to date by a mile for New Mexico United. Daniel Bruce coming on for New Mexico United. And he will replace Santi Moar. Moar back on the score sheet, has an assist tonight. And even just his presence, being on the field and what he's been able to produce thus far, it just makes back lines think, it makes coaches prepare, and it opens up avenues for guys like Kevon Frater, like Chris Wehan, like Devin Sandoval to be able to succeed as Bruce replaces Moar in the 75th.
Really makes you start second-guessing your next move on guys like Santi Moar, where you see the technical ability, so good with the ball out of his feet, and then when it's out in front of him, you have to account for the speed as well. And then just when you get zoned in on him and you think you have him locked down, you forget about everything else that's going on around you. That has definitely been the case here this evening. We've seen it happen before, except this time around, he's had the ability to distribute to some of his fellow teammates. And another interesting sub by Troy Lesane coming down the stretch, giving the opportunity to a foreigner in his debut with 15 minutes to go, up 3-0 to try and seal things up.
And all substitutions brought to you by REDW CPA and advisors, as this free kick handled initially. Bruce trying to go for it all with his first touch. David Estrada, a rare miscue on his first touch. Fans, head to the New Mexico United's Twitter page to vote on the Star Brothers Brewing Company's Star of the Match, twitter.com/New Mexico United. However, I feel like it's more or less obvious. And it's not Cody Mizell. Barmby, never troubling Mizell. Takes a tumble look to the side netting. Next up for New Mexico United, at El Paso, at Colorado Springs, at Austin. Not exactly sides that have proven to be world beaters, but nobody you can take lightly. And I think that that's the lesson to be learned for the Western Conference thus far, and especially all those being on the road.
Just gonna say, can't take it lightly, and also you've only gotten 1 win out of 5 on the road so far. And that's just the same thing as closing games out, 1-1 and 3. So only 1 loss, but only 1 win. And when you start hitting that August, September mark, you want to be in the top 4. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's plenty of teams like Red Bull 2 and Swope Park Rangers, Sacramento Republic, who have gone out and showed you they can get it done on the road. Oklahoma City Energy as well. But traditionally, the top 4 is where the money's to be made. And it's games like that where maybe you don't close them out at the beginning of the season, but when you get the opportunity to get results against maybe quote-unquote lesser opponents, take full advantage of it. Especially when you get teams that are up and down like Austin Bold, where they struggled, they got a few wins, they got a tie, and a loss recently. Though Mark Lowry's boys in El Paso Locomotive seem to have been gaining some momentum. Going into the game versus Phoenix Rising, said that they could play a bit. And ever since then, the chances starting to pile up, the opportunities more lucrative, and the results, more importantly, starting to come.
Falls for Estrada. Beat to it by Billy Forbes. Look at Frater hustling back, even in a 3-0 game, to try to win the ball. You can make the argument, Devin, heading into this game, and given the way that the Western Conference has unfolded. Listen, I don't want to use the phrase must win in May, but
here it comes.
But I will say that as Kevon Frater forcing another turnover, has it poked away, Bruce slips on the infield, here comes Suggs. Yeah, nothing doing for New Mexico United on that particular play. What I was going to say is that, listen, you had your 2-0 lead against Portland Timbers 2. You blew it. You end up getting a point in dramatic fashion, and, you know, it's a moment that you guys have. Let's get another look at the Suggs attempt. That was not far off. If you come in here and lay an egg, and you only get a point or you don't get any, it's a poor little spell at home in a game against Portland Timbers 2 that you should have won, and a San Antonio FC team that is struggling to find their identity. And they came out here tonight and played like there was a lot on the line, and I think that the 15,023 fans here had a little bit to do with that.
A lot to do with it. People don't really truly understand, unless you're down there, and not many people get an opportunity to do that, but when you step foot on a field and you hear all of that support behind you, I mean, it pushes you to another level. And it doesn't matter sometimes if it's 500 people, 5,000 people, or 50,000 people. It does something to you emotionally that performance-wise pushes you above and beyond what you think you're capable of. New Mexico United has been able to do that. And they've been able to do it on a regular basis at home. And all it matters in their progression going forward is, well, we've said it a few times tonight, can they do it for a full 90 minutes? And can they do it when push comes to shove? And so far, they haven't been able to answer that question against the bigger teams. Darren Powell, I'm giving him a little bit of respect here against the bigger teams because they are a good team. He is a good coach. I mean, people forget that in 2017, they were second best of the West, if I'm not mistaken, just behind Real Monarchs. They had the 2 seed. Ibiaga was there and
barely squeaked by Tulsa.
Barely squeaked by Tulsa,
but lost to OKC.
Great academy and a good coach, more importantly. And you know, they struggled last year, and he thinks that they have the right formula. He truly does. And you've seen, much like New Mexico United, you've seen glimpses here and there. The difference is that United has produced for 65, 70 minutes a match. San Antonio is showing you 15, 20-minute windows, and that's just not going to cut it. So he'll go back to the training ground. He'll say, look, I like this, I didn't like this. This is truly the first game that they've struggled, to be honest, in almost a month. Because we talked about their recent fixtures. They really haven't struggled since they were on the road against Austin Bolden. Even that match, they were the better team. They just couldn't close. I mean, talk about Phoenix Rising for that one, a better team and couldn't close things out. But they haven't lost to a better team since Colorado Springs, and they were just played off the pitch in that match. So he'll start to figure things out. But New Mexico United, an excellent opportunity to showcase once again what they're made of. This time defensively, they've locked things up and managed the game. That's what this comes down to, is game management. Haven't been able to do it so far, and to recover from what happened versus T2 and now put out a performance like this, sit down, applaud, very impressive.
Mexico United very much in the driver's seat. And this 3-0 lead can almost chalk it up to 3 points at this point. David Estrada.
I'll tell you what is interesting. San Antonio's done. They have no intent of chasing. They think this game's over. And I mean, I get it. You're down 3-0 with 7 minutes to go. But still, like, where's the enthusiasm? This all goes back to what we talked about in the first half.
Here's Wehan, sitting on a hat trick, was trying to get it over for Frater.
Coming in to the second and said, you know, Devin, what do you want to see different? I said, you know, show me you want it. I get it. Like, don't just go through the motions, make an impact, hit the frame, execute. They haven't been able to do that. New Mexico United continuously showing that even though they're up 3-0, let's go get a fourth, let's go get a fifth. And that's something, I will say this, that's something in previous games they haven't done. I was very critical for the most part of Troy Lesesne, where he made tactical adjustments to kind of sit a bit, and they weren't used to that. Now, I'm not asking you to continue to push the pace 100 miles an hour, but against Tulsa, against Phoenix,
T2.
Against Orange County, against T2. T2 was a bit different. They had to come from behind, but they started to sit. That's not their MO. That's not where they're good. And when you get out of the norm of what you're used to, the unfamiliarity of it all causes issues. Notice what they're doing now. Up 3-0, don't care. You come and get the ball from us. You come and chase.
And it's something that you see across all sports as Frater able to hold play up and find David Estrada. We'll get to that point in a second. He is taken down by Akan, and it will be a free kick for New Mexico United and a yellow card for Akan. And that Seitel yellow was issued to Evie Akan of San Antonio FC, number 15. And it's interesting that you bring that up and saying that that's not New Mexico United's MO. They need to sort of like stick to who they are. But you see that in American football with regards to a prevent defense. You see that sometimes in a basketball game where a team that's up 15 points is going to stop really challenging the opposition. As Akamatsu is going to come on and replace Chris Wehan. And Chris Wehan putting in an unbelievable performance tonight. Only had one goal coming in, but he's able to get two tonight with a little bit of help from his buddy Santi Moar.
Shows you the progression of this team as well. Not just the individual performance, but the game versus Phoenix Rising. Santi Moar went the length of the field with no one around him. This time, Wehan follows it up, just allows himself to continue the run, and knows that eventually, one time or another, his compatriot will turn back around and lay the ball off to him. And I get what you're saying, but there's certain areas where in sporting, a level of play has to be understood. And it has to be understood in the sense of you don't need to do 10 things right in this league. You don't. You don't have to do 10 things right. You need one identity for the most part, with a bit of luck here and there. That goes down to injury, results obviously, and the way the ball bounces. A little luck here and there. And then eventually, you need 1-2 spots over the course of the season where you need to turn it to another level and go get a result that you're not used to. But primarily, if you look at teams that have won the championship over the past few years, they do one thing and they do it great, outside of Louisville City. Now, to be fair, but that's few and far between. That's really only one example. Swole Park Rangers got the opportunity to get to the final. Oklahoma City in the Western Conference. I mean, Phoenix Rising. Let's go a bit further. New York Red Bull, who won a championship and then got to the Eastern Conference Final. So these are teams that pretty much show you the same look every single time. If you can execute that one look, you at least give yourself an opportunity to not only get to the playoffs, but progress further. So why not continue to do the one thing correctly? They did it tonight.
But it also seems, I mean, back to your point, it seems like a disinterested San Antonio FC side tonight. I mean, as soon as the second goal went in, they were doing whatever they wanted out there. And the defending, the fact that Barmby was the only one tracking back, it was bizarre to see, because when we think of Darren Powell, we have the utmost respect for him and what he's been able to accomplish at San Antonio. And they're a model for a lot of teams in the USL Championship. But
at the academy level as
well. At the academy level, and it just seems like the guys for tonight, for whatever reason, just weren't bought in.
You can look a bit further too, where it's one thing to be, I'll use your talking points, to be off on their own, doing their own thing. Disinterested's another thing. When you're on a different level where you're not communicating right, you're drifting out of position, you're trying to go do things on your own, that can be frustration. After the third goal, good night. I'm done. I want off this field. I don't want anything to do with it. And if you look at their demeanor, their heads are down. They're not chasing as much. I'm sorry. I don't care what it is. If I'm down 3-0, 4-0, 1-0, I'm chasing 100 miles an hour, because, again, this isn't just about this result. This is about next week and the week after, and telling the manager, you know what? No matter what happens, push come to shove, I will be there for you. Can you really make an argument right now for that?
And it's not only that, but I'll take it a step further, and I'll say that even if San Antonio was to get a goal, was to get 2 goals, and at least make this somewhat interesting down the stretch, you can take it into your next matches and say, well, if we had put that together for the previous 60 minutes, and we've talked about how they have not been able to put even close to a half together, let alone 90 minutes, then at least you have some sort of momentum, some sort of positive to take in the following matches. I mean, this is just bad body language, heads down, nobody chasing, no pride. If you're Darren Powell, I mean, you're absolutely ripping these guys after the game. I mean, he might not even say anything to them. It might be more of a conversation to be had on Monday, Tuesday, but, forget the pride piece. At least try to take something into the following games. You can't just write games off throughout a season. That's how you have miserable seasons.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing to take away is who he is as a coach. He'll be fine. I mean, it's easy for us to sit here and play Monday morning quarterback as well. to be honest, it's our job. But, you know, we have to give our viewpoint, but he's a guy who's got a lot of success and not worried about him having the ability to figure out. Now, the ability to figure it out and that translating to results within his squad is a different story. That's a little bridge by Mo Hernandez stepping up underneath Manny Padilla. Just a few moments to go here. And I think that's probably the biggest thing here is you can look and say it's not a good performance. They put their heads down over the course of the game. It's gotten worse, but it's gotten worse over this game. You look at, again, I go back to the results and people aren't high on them. I'm not saying they're one of the better teams in the Western Conference. I'm saying they're getting better, and the results have shown it. And I mean, they beat a team, Los Dos, who's sitting 4th in the Western Conference right now. So they've shown that they've had the ability. Couldn't close out versus Real Monarchs.
Here's Billy Forbes driving forward with great pace. He slips right when the moment asks the most of him. And we do have 5 minutes of stoppage time, and it's brought to you by Orange Theory. We're in the orange zone now. And we've seen teams, and I remember back to Phoenix last year, they had that incredible run in June. Hashtag no goals June. All this momentum, didn't give up a single goal in the 6th month of the year. They come back after the bye week and they get drilled on the road by Fresno. And San Antonio had all of this momentum after a poor start in the first 4 games. They win 3 out of the next 4, and then they have to wait after beating Tacoma 3-0. You can make the argument, yeah, you should be fresh coming off of a bye week, but all the momentum and all the things that you started to be able to put together on the field, you then had to wait 7+ days to be able to go put it out on the field.
They've also been a team that's struggled on the road historically, except for the 2017 season. The good news is at home, they're not unbeatable, but they're much like the Tampa Bay Rowdies now. Like it's very difficult to go there, and 3 of their next 5 matches, albeit against very difficult opponents who are sitting in that top 10 of the West, are at home. They are at Toyota, so yeah, maybe not the best of performances. You would like a bit more emotion, a bit more desire. However, you're still going home. Get a good week's training in, get some treatment, recoup, and get back to the task at hand, because right around the corner, you've got to take on Orange County, and Orange County coming off some momentum versus their home win against Phoenix Rising. So again, not the best of performances tonight, but still, that's the great thing about this game is you can put one behind you, get back to work, and then get another opportunity to move up the standings.
I'll tell you what I am looking forward to.
Golden Boot race.
It's May.
Cheerios.
Frosted Flakes, but close. U.S. Open Cup. New Mexico United, Phoenix Rising, 2nd round. Oof. Come on. Come on. Grab your popcorn.
How about that match earlier this year? You wonder what lies ahead now between those 2 teams.
Because those are 2 teams who really have no interest. Obviously, they have an interest in defending, and New Mexico United, for all intents and purposes, getting out a clean sheet tonight. But they would rather score 5 and concede 4 than anything else.
Sitting at 1-0.
Yeah. No, that's not in their DNA.
You ask the managers, they might say something different, but
if you ask the owners, I think that they would agree with us, and they said we'd love to play an entertaining style of football, and that's what we want to give our fans.
Juan Pablo just not necessarily moving as fast as Thomas Schneider would like.
Seintel yellow card issued to Juan Pablo Guzman. David Estrada got a foot to it. Matt Cardoni was there.
Well, how about the other matchup in the Western Conference? Reno, Sacramento Republic. And that'll be a fun one. You never know with Simon Elliott's boys. They can, toe the line with the best of them, but again, you lose to Tacoma Defiance, you lose to Vegas.
Pretty uninspiring 0-0 draw against Phoenix.
Yeah, but watching the Phoenix game,
it was a tactical battle.
Yeah, that's the best way to put it. It was players understanding what their assignments were, executing to a T, and just not allowing the other team to do what they're good at. And even when they stepped out of that, and you get overlapping runs here by Lambert and guys getting out of their position and trying to do something out of the norm, they picked it up. And the only thing strange to me about that game was Cam Iwasa coming off the bench when he was in a great run of form, and it's really allowed them to be so good in the offensive third.
Well, that's going to do it. New Mexico United in front of more than 15,000 put on an absolute show. They take down San Antonio FC 3-0, a brace from Chris Wehan. And New Mexico United move to the top of the Western Conference table at the end of week number 9 in the USL Championship. Chris Wehan is your Star Brothers Brewing Company star of the match. Santi Moar an assist, Kavan Frater 2 assists. Devin Sandoval got things started in the 9th minute. 2 goals from Wehan in the second half, a clean sheet to boot. Devin Kerr, your thoughts on it all?
Not surprising that they were able to put up goals. 8 of their 10 matches have had 3 or more goals. What's more important is that they were able to keep the 0 and keep the other team out of the back of the net. They have gotten out in front so many a time this season, but this time around they were able to step up. Defense got better, offense remained the same. Coaching changes, it didn't matter what happened down the line, but they just made the right substitutions at the right point in time. Did not let Darren Powell or San Antonio do anything to them. Great 3 points, gate result, top of the Western Conference.
Full time here at the lab, and the 15,000+ got exactly what they came for. 3 goals, 3 points, a clean sheet, and they stand alone at the top of the Western Conference on this Cinco de Mayo. Tyler Terrence along with Devin Kerr, glad to have had you with us. What an unbelievable night here in Albuquerque, at least for one team, for San Antonio FC. Certainly a night that they're going to want to forget. And we'll take a look at the Michelob Ultra play of the match. And it was the opening goal from Devin Sandoval, set up by Frater, and it just blew the roof off this place if there was one.
Beautiful movement by Frater, Sandoval, Wehan. I mean, everybody got involved in the game going forward today, and it was just their ability to interchange so nicely, both offensively and defensively. They allowed themselves to be that one composed unit that Troy Lesesne has been looking for. They haven't necessarily found it on a regular basis over the course of the first 9 matches, but 90 minutes, 10th match, there you go, Isotopes Park.
Let's take a look at the 90 minutes, Devin Kerr. And New Mexico United opening 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes look great. 9th minute, Kavan Frater finds Sandoval.
Johnny Fennick had his hands tonight. They were more than full with Frater, Wehan, and everybody else that employed their efforts on that right wing. And you struggle, don't you? Because you want to be in that one-on-one matchup, but when you do, there's speed. He's a tactician on the ball, great distributor of it, good ball striker as well. So you have to respect what he's able to do, but also account for the far side of things, this man. I mean, you think when he doesn't find the back of the net, because both he and Frater are accounting for 3/4 of the team goals, that it's going to be a problematic night. No, that's not the case. He just continued to go forward. Love this right here. I mean, his ability to understand and trust the fact that that run is going to be there. This isn't the first time he's done it here. It's not going to be the last time. And it shows you the progression that they're making on the offensive side of things, because 3-4 games into the season, he was in alone.
And look at the confidence from Wehan here. I mean, the angle wasn't great, but as soon as he realized nobody was with him, takes a look over his shoulder. I love that. And then he's just like, this is me. This is all me.
You do have to wonder with Cardone, could he have done better? It's still a good finish, but with the angle that he has, this is going one of two spots. He's going to try and meg you because there's no angle on the near post, or it's going to the far post. 80% of that time, that ball's being hit into the far post. Want to be clear here. Still a phenomenal finish by Chris Wehan.
The fact that he lifted it off the ground just a bit, because Cardone sticks out the leg.
Yeah.
I think the fact that he lifted it up, that's what got him the goal.
Yeah, and most attackers would probably try and slot that into the back post, just tuck it in, get done. But you put a little elevation under it, much more difficult for the goalkeeper. Possession pretty much stayed the same. We were 51-49 in half. They hit a few more on target, especially at the beginning in the second half, but we talked about it just, you know what, couldn't do it on a regular basis, became disinterested, faded out of the game.
An unbelievable performance from New Mexico United, now sitting first in the Western Conference table. Sandoval got it started. Wehan 2 goals in the second half. A night to forget for Darren Powell and San Antonio FC, but a night to remember for the 15,000 that came to the lab. For my broadcast partner, Devin Kerr, our entire crew, Tyler Terrence, saying so long for now and thanks for tuning in.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.